Okay, so we are live with Your Journey to Now, and today we have the wonderful guest, Philippa Taylor, who is joining us. Philippa works in wellbeing, and I don't know Philippa's story or journey at all. So I'm really interested to hear a little bit more about you, Philippa. So I don't even know where you live, so tell me whereabouts you're based.
Hi, Vicky, and thanks for inviting me on. I live in a lockkeeper's cottage on the borders of Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire. And I say borders because our side of the canal is Buckinghamshire and the other side of the canal is Hertfordshire. So that really is on the borders. It's near Tring. I suppose that's probably the nearest town. Sort of Watford, Aylesbury, Milton Keynes are sort of nearish towns on that side.
I spent a little bit of time in that area. My husband was in the military and we spent some time down in Northwood, which isn't too far from Watford. And it always makes me laugh when people say they live on a border, because it always reminds me of when I was little and we used to drive up to Scotland a lot. Every summer we would spend up in Scotland. And my mum used to always stop on the border between England and Scotland so that my brothers could stand with their feet, one foot in Scotland, one foot in England, and have a pee. So it always makes me laugh. To me, living on a border makes me feel like I should be inviting my brothers to go and have a pee. So
well, if you're halfway across the lock gates, there's something you could do along that line.
So tell me a little bit about how your kind of career moved towards well-being. Where did you start off?
I started off when I left university back in the 80s, giving away my age somewhat there. And I went into PR because I love problem solving. I love communicating. I love sharing information. And it just seemed like a really good job. So I had a fabulous time, living and working in London, doing the whole PR sweetie ab fab thing. And when you work in an agency, you work on all sorts of different accounts. And as time moved on, I got into more and more about lifestyle. And then that morphed into my interest into well-being. I've always done a lot of sport, and I've always been quite interested in, making sure that I lived a reasonably healthy lifestyle. So it became sort of a natural part of my world to get into well-being. Had a bit of a detour, my husband got posted off to Paris. So I did a little bit of career counselling. I taught business English. But again, it came, it came back to that whole thing about helping people, sharing information. Came back, did a bit more PR. I love it. And, it's just an easy thing to pick up once you've got the hang of it. And I've been doing it now, 30 years, I suppose. So yeah, I've got the hang of that one. And then I decided that I loved it, and I still love it, and I still have PR clients. But, having got the hang of it, and working for yourself, you don't develop as much. I wasn't learning, and I wasn't putting back into the universe. I don't know if that sounds a bit cheesy, but there's only a limit how much pro bono work can make a difference in the world. So about 3 years, maybe coming up for 4 years, I started thinking, okay, what else is there? I was mid-50s then, 55, and I thought, okay, I probably want to work for another 5-10 years, depending on the old pension pot. What can I do that speaks to me in terms of helping people, allows me to use my skills of sharing information, and actually will make a difference. And then I came across a wellbeing company, and the rest is history, as they say. So that's how that's what I do now, is I do a blend of sharing information about wellbeing and doing my PR work.
But so your PR work, I'm sure, stands you in such good stead, as an entrepreneur, or even just in your writing skills. So if you're wanting to share information, having a really good basis in PR tucked under your belt is going to stand you in amazing stead for being able to do that in a way that's, consumable by people. And also, obviously, you're going to have a good network, so you can start putting stuff out to a wider community, which a lot of entrepreneurs don't have access to that kind of network or those skills. So I think that's fabulous. What a great way to have started out and then be able to start pushing things out to a bigger community. So yeah, I think that's wonderful. So I'm interested that you still do a little bit of PR. I guess that's your bread and butter, isn't it? And then
yeah, I love it. I just love it. I'm a bit of an information junkie, and I'm quite pragmatic as well in terms of, I see something that, I could help with, and I want to just go and say, have you thought about this? What about doing this? Let's communicate that. If you don't do this, that's going to happen. If you do this, that's going to happen. So stop. So the clients that I work with now, I've worked with for a long time, in various guises, and I've trained people in PR as well. So it's evolved with two main people I work with, and I just love it. So I do it.
Yeah. And in terms of well-being, what is the kind of information that you're sharing there? Is that about nutrition, about self-care? What kind of areas do you cover?
The company that I work with is all about Nutrigenomics, which is using sort of natural substances to affect the way your genes express themselves. And I'm being that information junkie. I like the science behind it. I don't understand everything I read and learn about, but I like the way that everything that I talk about is clinically proven. So it's very simple ways to make you feel, as fab as possible for as long as possible, in essence. So, and being in PR, I'm never one to leave any words alone, I share the information about how you can, for example, trigger your body to make its own antioxidants again. Because if you have more antioxidants, you have better cellular health. If you have better cellular health, you get better sleep, you get better energy, and you get reduced inflammation. So it makes you feel good. So I like to share that.
We all need some of this. We all need some of this information. So where do you share the information? Do you have a blog, or do you write articles for publications, or how does that work? How do you get this stuff out there?
It's a mixture. I have a Facebook page, just about to start a Facebook group. That's my sort of mission for 2020. I have a LinkedIn profile that I share information, articles, my own blogs. I have a website, and I've taken the e-commerce platform that I get with the company, and I've wrapped it with my own sort of slant on it, because I have a guest blog and a blog, because I want to share other simple ways to feel good. When we get into our 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond, we've got a lot of life knowledge, and people are in their second or third careers, or even become experts in their primary career. So I like to be able to say, look, what I do is really simple. It's clinically proven. So try it. Now you know about it. You can make that choice. But also, here are some great ways to exercise. Here's some great ways on time management, or mindfulness, or meditation, or yoga, or jewelry, or how to dress for middle age, or the menopause, or all sorts of different areas that will help people feel good. So life hacks, I suppose, is a good way of describing it.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, I'll have to get your link, stuff like that.
So my cat is just jumping up and down behind me. So
my dog just disappeared. She just shot over here as well. So maybe she wants to hear about nutrigenetics. That's a new word to me. Did I say it right?
Nutrigenomics.
Nutrigenomics. Yeah. I've never heard of that before. So I'm going to have to go and Google it afterwards, and I'm definitely going to have to look up some of your articles on your Facebook page after this, because I want to hear more about it. It just sounds fascinating. And all of us, and I think our kind of like the people who I work with in my kind of audience are all in their kind of 30s, 40s, 50s, some of them moving on to 60s. Everyone's interested in that, right? Because everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. And if we can somehow hack our genetics to make that work better for us, then that's amazing. So I'm excited about finding out more about it. It's a whole area that I didn't even know existed. And that's the fascinating thing, is sometimes you dig yourself, or you stick your head in the sand of what it is that you're doing. You don't look beyond it, and you don't even really understand what else is out there. In fact, it's funny because I was doing some stuff about life cycles, like client life cycles of where they are, and kind of where they are in terms of product awareness, solution awareness, problem awareness, all this kind of different areas. And this is like, so I'm clearly at phase 1 with like complete product problem unawareness. I didn't even know this was something that I could look into. So yes, that's fascinating. So no, I can understand why it piqued your interest. So how was it that you were introduced to it? I'm not even going to try to say it again because I'm going to say it wrong.
No, that's okay. I also it's called biohacking, which is basically using life hacks, simple things to actually take control of your biology. So I think biohacking is a much easier word to look at on that side.
Yeah, and so I have heard of biohacking. I do know about biohacking, but I genuinely didn't know, and this is maybe me just being really naive and not having looked into it more. I didn't know that it was to do with our genetics. So, but I guess when we think about our biological makeup, it's all about genetics. So it would make sense. It does make sense that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I mean, if you've started a New Year's resolution, for example, and you're going to do more exercise, you're biohacking because you're taking control. If you're drinking more water or cutting down on sugar or spending time meditating, you're biohacking. So it's basically anything that means you are helped with a lot of self-care, really, is what it's about.
So the universe definitely decided today it didn't want me to biohack. So one of my New Year's resolutions is I'm going to put in more miles. So I'm going to run more every week. And I like running, but I need to get my mileage back up to kind of like half marathon, full marathon distance. I haven't done that for ages. So,
wow.
So this morning I decided I would just trot out. I've had an injury, so I haven't done any running this week at all. And, but it's like my dog walk went wrong because I was walking with a whole load of people. I was walking with a group. It took so much longer than I was expecting to, and I knew I had to get back. I had stuff that I needed to do. I've got big deadlines today, and so I was like, shall I run? No, maybe I shouldn't. Nope, I'm going to do it. Okay, so I said I was going to do it. I will manage to make time to do it. Maybe not as far. I literally walked out the door and I fell flat on my face. I mean, it must have been hilarious. I have no idea how it happened. I was running down a small hill. I landed on my chest, so I feel like really bruised. Oh. And I was like, do you know what? This is like the universe is saying to me, you should not have run today. You were not meant to. And I thought, screw that. I was going to do 5 miles today. I'm going to do 6 instead, just to prove to the universe that I have my own plans for today. But yeah, so I guess I'm biohacking in a way.
Absolutely on that side. Yeah, and I think it's a great resolution. It's just making time for it. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's when I talk about the book I want to, that's impacted on me, that's all about doing the same thing repeatedly. But to come back to your question, I went to a networking event in a town I don't go to very often, and a meeting that I've never been to. And I met somebody who was talking about it, and I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. I'd never heard of it. I couldn't spell it. I didn't know what it meant, and just complete. Oh yeah, okay. And then I thought, okay, I'm very skeptical. I have to be uber skeptical, because if a client comes to me and says, oh, this is the best thing ever, I want to know about, does it work? Can you prove it worked? And I prod until I can get to the answer. Because if I talk to the Times or the Mail or whoever, and it's a load of rubbish, they're going to A, eat me alive, and B, never want to take my call again. So yeah. I applied that whole, okay, give me the scientific proof, give me the patents, give me the research. And then I thought, okay, that works, tick. And then I thought, is it natural? Because I didn't want to be taking something, man-made in a way that was going to turn me into a blue 2-headed cow, 5 years down the line. And I was like, okay, so tick the natural. And then I took it and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. What have I got to lose? The science tells me it's not going to harm me. It's going to make me feel better. So I took it and I was like, holy moly. Okay, this is okay. I'm not creaking quite so much. And I think what sealed it for me was my husband. One morning, we just woken up and he said, who are you? And I thought, oh my word, 20 years, he's got to recognize me. And he's going, no, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you're chatting and laughing And he said, the entire time I've known you, you've not been a morning person. You know, it's normally, do they give me coffee and I might appear. And I thought, oh yeah, actually that's changed. And so I thought, okay, that's a difference that I can see. And I didn't get that sort of mid-afternoon slump, you know, where you're thinking coffee, chocolate, coffee, or let's have both, you know.
Maybe that was me. So is it an energy thing? You feel more energetic, or it's revitalized your energy?
Yeah, it's one of those unquantifiable things, you know. I mean, I sleep like a baby. I feel full of vim and, you know, energy. I think vitality is a good way to describe it. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm 58, just about to be 59, and I don't feel like I'm that age. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've done a lifetime of sport, you know, quite competitive sport, so I should be creaking like an old barn door, but I'm not. And I feel that I want to make the choice of how much I fit into my day and what I do. You know, if I want to lie on the sofa, great. And if I want to go and run around the reservoirs close to me, then I'm going to do it. I don't want to have to stop and go, oh, well, that means I can't go out later. You know, I want to be able to do what I want to do. So,
yeah, fabulous. And so I know you've got a wonderful book that you wanted to share with us. So every time I do one of these interviews, I ask for a book recommendation. So what is the book that you feel has had a real impact on you?
This one is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And it was recommended to me because of my philosophy that, you know, it needs to be simple things that can make a big difference. And that's the real discipline in this book. The whole philosophy is about doing whatever you want to do consistently, but in small steps. So he feels that, you know, we can all be successful, and we've all got the knowledge and the passion and the impetus to do it within us. We just have to make the choice to take a small step towards that goal every day. And cumulatively, all those tiny little small steps will add up to a huge difference. And so
that's fabulous. So there's a book that I read. I reread it it was over Christmas that I reread it, by a guy called James Clear. I don't know if you've heard of him, called Atomic Habits. And he's all about incremental benefits of tiny habits. And yeah, so it sounds like it's a kind of similar sort of concept. So yeah, I would love to have a look at that and dig into it a bit more. But if you could send me the title of the book, I'll pop it alongside some notes with our interview, as well as where people can find you. So tell us, where's the best place to connect with you online?
Okay. Facebook, I have FeelFab Philippa Taylor, a business page, and my group will spin off that. My website is feelfabnaturally.com. And Brilliant. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. But feelfabnaturally.com is probably the best place to start, because it's got my blog on it. It's got all the information about the science and the products, and it leads through to my Facebook page as well. So, or you can find me on Facebook as an individual. My picture, I think I'm blonde because I've just gone ginger. Genetically, I should be ginger. I don't quite know why I ended up blonde, but there we are. So
that's brilliant. So I'll post a link to feelfabnaturally.com so that people can find out more about you there, and I'm sure that'll take people to your profiles in other places. But it's been really fabulous speaking to you, Philippa. I feel like I've learned something this morning. And yeah, it's just been really great to connect with you in person. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And I'm going to look forward to going and finding out more about biohacking. I was going to try and say the other word, which I'm not even going to look like an idiot. But thank you. It's really fascinating. So thank you so much for being with us.
No, my pleasure. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's been brilliant.
All right. You take care. Thanks, Philippa.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.